Yeah, Ilia's in the hospital. He's busted up. You know, I'm not a doctor, but his eye looked like he probably has broken orbital. I don't know that's not a fact, but I'm just assuming. And my plans for him are to go home and rest and recover and take his time. And you know, tonight was a rough night for him. I just want to make sure he's healthy and good, and not even thinking about him fighting again. Just want him to go home and relax and rest and heal.
It's the pressure fight. Oh, right hand, he hurt him. I mean, Ilia's face is just destroyed.
We literally had him get out of the octagon before the hand was even raised and sent him to the hospital.
Maybe more significantly was the eye damage. Both of his eyes were swollen shut. His nose was fucked up. He'd taken so many punches to the face, and it looked like perhaps orbital damage, like maybe he had a fractured orbital, because his whole thing had just swollen.
I would say definitely not a rematch. I mean, I made him quit on the stool. It's not like there was, he hurt me, and I think it was 3-1. I've been 3 rounds to 1. You know, in any election, that's a domination.
Just days after suffering one of the most brutal losses of his career, Ilia Topuria is finally showing signs of recovery. The former lightweight champion left UFC Freedom 250 with fractures around both eye sockets, raising serious concerns about his future. While surgery was avoided, doctors ordered weeks of healing before any contact training. Now, with the swelling almost completely gone, fans are asking one big question. How soon can Topuria safely return to the octagon? How much damage did this fight really do? Because according to Dana White, the priority wasn't booking Ilia's next fight. It was making sure he made it home healthy. And for the first time in years, the future of one of the UFC's biggest stars suddenly became uncertain.
No. I don't think. I think if it fights the right fight, he will learn a lot from that. I think Ilia wins the rematch. And that's that's no knock on Justin at all. It's just like, obviously Ilia was a favorite for a reason. But yeah, I just think that Ilia, if he doesn't rush as much, fights at a little bit better distance, and then does what he usually does, sets up nice traps, he'll eventually find him. But yeah, being so aggressive is sort of what cost him, I believe.
UFC just announced.
That's what's so good about. That's what's so good about the story, though. For Justin Gaethje, like look at his career, and it didn't look like he was gonna ever actually fill the real undisputed belt, and then he goes and massive underdog White House, and then.
While many people focused on what Topuria had lost, Alexander Volkanovski looked at what he could still become. His belief was simple: adjust the aggression, fight with more patience, respect Justin's experience, and the outcome could look completely different. That's what makes rematches so fascinating. The first fight reveals who actually learned from them. But before anyone could seriously talk about another meeting, there was still one massive obstacle standing in the way: recovery.
Oh my God, he's gonna quit. Oh my God, Ilia Topuria, you little bitch. Don't you dare quit like this. I couldn't see, and I carried on fucking fighting because I'm not a little bitch. Ilia looks fucked. Oh my God, you're gonna quit. Oh my God, you quit, you little bitch. Justin Gaethje, man, the ultimate spoiler. I said he was gonna win, didn't I? Oh my God, you quit like a little bitch. My face was worse than yours.
The shots that Justin was landing, and maybe even more impressive, what he endured.
Yeah.
Those rips to the body, those left hooks to the body were so nasty. He got hurt so bad. He almost got finished. Yeah. It looked like he was going to get triangled. It looked like he was going to get armbarred. It was over and over again. He was dominated on the ground. It looked bad. And for him to come back from that, it makes it all the more sweet. And for him to do this at the White House, there was something about him shadow boxing with the American flag wrapped around him when he was warming up.
Your heart's filled.
You couldn't script it any better.
No, I knew that was going to happen to him. Walking forward with their hands down on the opening bell, you're going to get walloped.
People saying that he reminds us of you and all that stuff.
No way, does he? He has the same tattoos, he says the same stuff.
Right in front of you,
Shit!
Right in front of you. Do something about it.
He does the same fucking movements. He was going to scream on the thing. I wish him well. He's all right. I like him. Maybe.
This might be 2-2. Ilia Topuria's on the comeback.
2-2?
2-2, I'd say. First 2 to Topuria, next 2 to Gaethje.
Well, they mentioned his face being beaten, so
Oh, they're stopping it. Oh, they stopped it. Wow.
Oh, there we go.
The big back foot's coming. He might be too tired for that. No, he's done it.
He's done it. Oh.
Oh, he's done it. Watch it.
As the fight came to an end, the reactions across the MMA world couldn't have been more divided. Some criticized Ilia Topuria for being forced to stop, while others gave Justin Gaethje full credit for breaking one of the sport's most feared champions. What stood out wasn't just the result. It was how many respected voices agreed that Justin had delivered the perfect game plan. He survived Topuria's most dangerous moments, absorbed crushing body shots, escaped submissions, and somehow came back stronger with every round. Even Conor McGregor couldn't resist comparing Topuria's confidence and style to his own, while Paddy Pimblett mocked the ending in his usual fashion. But beneath the jokes and celebrations was one undeniable truth. Justin Gaethje had just done what nobody thought was possible. He didn't simply beat Ilia Topuria. He shattered the aura of invincibility that had followed him into every fight, leaving the entire division wondering what version of Topuria would return next.
Dana, I personally thought it was the most amazing sporting event that I have ever watched in my life. Absolutely pitch perfect. You put your heart and soul into this thing. Your organization put countless hours into putting this fight together on Sunday. You've had a few days now, a lot of money too. You had a few days.
I would never say anything. Listen, if you're thinking about retiring and that's what you want to do, you know, it's probably what you should do. But on the flip side, you just beat an undefeated badass, decisively. Finished him. And I don't know, it's just something that he needs to work out with, himself and his own mind and with his family, obviously.
Yeah, if it is the way he goes out, it's an untoppable moment.
That comment revealed something most fans never saw. Ilia didn't want the fight to end. Like every champion, he wanted one more round, one more chance, one more opportunity to change the outcome. But sometimes the people standing in your corner have to protect you from yourself. Because fighters rarely know when to stop, their teams do. And judging by Dana White's reaction, nobody inside the UFC was thinking about another title shot. They were thinking about Ilia's future, not just his career, but his health. And that raised another uncomfortable question. Was the physical damage actually worse than anyone realized?
Ilia Topuria will look back and go, why didn't I let him up?
What about that 1 minute between the rounds? If Ilia had to come out with that 1 minute when they were looking at him and he said he couldn't see, Justin might have stopped him right then. Ilia had a full minute to completely recover that he should have gotten. Inexperienced doctor.
They overruled doctor who may not have been as experienced in this.
Mark said it was an inexperienced doctor. You gotta let them fight.
Gotta let them fight.
If they want to fight, you gotta let them fight.
Gaethje versus Ilia Topuria. I don't know shit about fighting. I said every single prediction. Later in the week, I'm like, damn.
20%. You gave him 20%.
Yeah, no. There was a little bit, but in my mind, I'm like, dude, Ilia is so fucking confident and so sharp and so skilled, and Gaethje's too wild. Ilia's gonna knock him out. I was like set. My mind was so set on that. He just fucking broke Ilia's face. He broke his mental, and that was like, that's Ilia's at the hospital 100%, probably for the next little while. That was one of the most crazy, inspiring performances I've ever seen.
Did it show on the broadcast Ilia like fainting when they were leaving or not?
Yeah, he was like resting on his brother's arms on the way out, like nearly collapsing into him quite badly. Dude, he's got a broken orbital, broken cheekbone.
Is that confirmed?
I'm confirming it. I don't even know.
You're a doctor.
Based on the fights I've seen and the results that we've had back.
And your medical degree.
Yes, I'm actually Dr. Guru here, ready to...
That was the biggest shock of the entire night. Almost everyone picked Ilia Topuria to win. Some believed Justin Gaethje had a chance, but very few imagined him completely changing the fight. Instead of breaking Justin broke him, not only physically, but mentally. Whether that's completely true or not is impossible to know right now. But one thing was obvious. For the first time in his UFC career, Ilia walked away looking vulnerable. And once opponents believe you're vulnerable, every future fight becomes different.
Do you think Ilia's going to try for a rematch?
No, he doesn't get a rematch. He can try, but he doesn't get one.
Wow.
He quit on the stool. He quit twice. I stopped him twice. What else do I have to do? His next challenge can't be me. He needs to fight Patty or someone like that.
Justin's answer was surprisingly respectful. He never claimed Ilia quit. He never said Ilia was easy. Instead, he admitted Topuria remained dangerous until the very end. But he also revealed the exact moment everything began to change. Not when Ilia stopped throwing punches. Not when his face started swelling. But when Justin realized Ilia was finally moving backwards. A fighter who built his reputation by constantly walking opponents down was suddenly forced to retreat. That single adjustment completely changed the momentum of the fight.
Doing health-wise, Dana?
He's doing good. He's doing good, you know. Tough kid, obviously. You know, after the first round, his eye was bothering him. You could see that he got hit. And at one point, he, like, started covering his eye like this and was kind of, you know, messing with it. And then, you know, Justin just kept busting.
Topuria is going to need time to recover mentally, emotionally, and physically. He's never lost before. This is gonna take something to overcome. One of the things that was Topuria's greatest weapons, greatest strengths, greatest traits, besides his overall ability and technically be sound, and you know, he was a full package. He really was. Talent-wise, technique, everything. But one of the things foremost that leads the way for all those things to mean something is he has supreme confidence.
Teddy Atlas pointed to something far more important than the cuts, bruises, or swollen eye: Ilia Topuria's confidence. Before this fight, his belief in himself was almost unmatched, and every opponent could feel it the moment he stepped into the octagon. He fought with complete certainty, convinced he could break anyone standing across from him. But Justin Gaethje forced him into unfamiliar territory, real adversity. For the first time, Topuria had to fight through doubt instead of dominance. That's often the true turning point in a champion's career. Great fighters aren't remembered only for how they win, but for how they respond after suffering the kind of defeat that changes everything.
And mentally. And the mental part's going to take probably longer than the flesh to heal and to get right. And I want to say this. There's things that have to happen for an upset like this. And things went right when he made a mistake going to the floor, but still taking on away from Gaethje. But what also went right was what the doctor, when he heard it, he only had one way to react. I got to stop this. That it seemed like Topuria said he couldn't see. And when you say that, you're saying stop the fight, basically. Because you know what a competent doctor, you know, responsible doctor is going to do. He's going to look out for you. He's going to stop. So it looked like that's what was happening. And then all of a sudden, first of all, it was pretty obvious they didn't want the fight stopped. They didn't want it. I mean, they could. I'm not saying they were risking his life. I'm not saying that. But they didn't want the fight stopped. I don't think any of us did, to be quite frank. But you know,
this wasn't just a discussion about broken bones or a damaged eye. It was about the damage no scan can truly measure. Doctors can diagnose fractures, recommend surgery, and estimate recovery times. But they can't predict what happens inside a fighter's mind after a loss like this. Teddy Atlas believes the mental scars often take far longer to heal than the physical ones, especially after a brutal defeat against an opponent like Justin Gaethje. MMA history has shown that some champions return stronger than ever, using adversity as motivation. Others never fully regain the confidence that once made them unstoppable. And right now, nobody, not Dana White, not Teddy Atlas, and not even Ilia Topuria himself, can say with certainty which path his career will ultimately take.
But you would be misunderstanding. What ended that fight, what brought that fight to conclusion was the final double leg takedown attempt by Ilia. The final attempt where idiots call it a leg dive. When he went for the leg dive, the double leg takedown, and almost got it. And Gaethje's hips turned, and then Gaethje turned his hips back over, squared up, and stopped that effort. That is the moment when we're all done. There was mentally and physically, that was the final effort. Ilia continued. He used that final leg dive. That was his last bit of energy, but also mentally. Also mentally. And that's something that's very hard for a doctor to see. It's very hard for anybody to see that hasn't done it. But there is a time in a cage fight when you will acquiesce to your opponent. You will concede. You've got me. And from that moment on, do you finish the fight? Do you stall it out? Can you time up? Can you protect yourself? Do you flick it? There's all sorts of options, but there is a time when you mentally are done.
While most fans focused on Ilia Topuria's swollen eye, the cuts on his face, and the punishment he absorbed, Chael Sonnen saw the fight from a completely different perspective. In his opinion, the real turning point wasn't the doctor's intervention or the visible damage. It was Ilia's final takedown attempt. Sonnen believed that shot represented Topuria's last chance to completely change the fight. When Justin Gaethje defended it, something shifted instantly, not just physically, but mentally. From that moment, Chael felt Ilia had exhausted his final answer inside the cage. The body was still moving, but the momentum had disappeared. That's why MMA is often decided long before the official stoppage. Sometimes the toughest battle isn't against the opponent standing across from you. It's against the doubts that suddenly appear inside your own mind.
Is the ultimate, you know,
But I saw the
adjudicator.
The in the cage doctor said he was doing this, like the fight's over.
Yeah.
And then I saw Topuria going, no.
Yeah.
And then he went to get some water. They yanked the water out of his hand.
Well, because the time's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Your
You can't allow the fight to continue, but then have some more time to have water and all the rest of it. Say, yeah, okay, you want to fight, we're going to let you fight, but you're fighting now. You're not getting a little massage and some advice from your corner.
Yeah.
The fight's on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Get
so I
out.
thought they yanked the water because it was his way of also saying, okay, the fight's over. I didn't know that meant go fight.
No, it's like, yeah. I mean, when he sits down in the corner and says he can't see, so from the optics from TV, right? So he sits in the corner, tells his cornerman he can't see, and then he's got the doctor doing the eye test, and the doctor's saying no. It's like, oh, this fight's fucking over, right? Like it's done.
That's what I thought, yeah.
You know, but then they let him continue.
Those few seconds became one of the most debated moments of the entire event. Some people believed the fight should have ended immediately. Others argued Ilia deserved the chance to continue. But almost everyone agreed on one thing. He refused to surrender, even while struggling to see, even while absorbing incredible punishment. He still wanted to fight. And whether you see that as courage or unnecessary risks, it perfectly explains why fighters think differently than everyone else.
You know, fight of the year, fight of the whatever, it's one of the greatest fights you'll ever see. It was incredible. And especially when you got a guy, I don't know where it ended up, but 6, 7, 8 to 1 underdog, and then comes in and does what he did tonight. And then Ilia, I mean, the body shots that Ilia hit Gaethje with in that round, and then Gaethje gets through it. Gaethje's about to get into, an armbar. He almost got into a triangle. I mean, you saw everything in that fight.
Yeah. Dana White's words said everything. This wasn't remembered simply because of the result. It was remembered because it had everything. Momentum swings, near submissions, baby shots, comebacks, adversity, heart. Moments where both men looked seconds away from losing. Those are the fights people remember for years. But while Justin Gaethje's legacy grew that night, the biggest mystery was only beginning. What would become of Ilia Topuria after suffering the first truly brutal defeat of his career?
He might never be the same fighter. He's undefeated. He got beaten badly. He pushed Justin Gaethje. He let his emotions get in the way a little bit. However, when you lose a fight like that, you've been beaten. Like Prince Naseem Hamed. I mean, he was destroying everyone and he lost one fight. And he was never the same again, right?
Yeah.
Now you can be beaten. There's that doubt in there. Who knows? Maybe he comes back and he's a better version of himself. Yeah. But we don't know until that happens.
Michael Bisping's comments immediately caught people's attention. Not because he guaranteed Ilia was finished, but because he reminded everyone how unpredictable this sport can be. MMA history filled with champions who looked unstoppable right up until the night they weren't. Some rebuilt themselves into even greater fighters. Others spent the rest of their careers chasing the version of themselves they once were. Right now, nobody honestly knows which category Ilia Topuria belongs in.
I think Ilia's going to come back better than ever. He's young still. He was going through some personal stuff. I think he's going to come back. I mean, Justin fucking humbled him for sure.
Yeah. I also think, though, like, he's human now. So anyone who fights him now, they're like, they know that's in him, that they know it's a possibility. And a big thing, even with you and like Ilia and these guys, before the losses, they were almost scared in there. Like there's this weird aura, like this scary aura, like he's gonna everyone up. Now that it got exposed a little bit, I think he's not gonna come back as just dominating.
Broken. I was a little bit surprised. Also, I know that Gaethje is a hell of a fighter. If I were him, what else does he want to accomplish? He did it all.
What do you think is next for Ilia?
Ilia is an unbelievable fighter. It's sometimes just not your night. If he fights again, we will probably regain the title. He put too much energy, tried to finish Justin, and when he didn't get it,
I think that really screwed him up. He was expecting to go in there and do what he normally does.
That reaction perfectly captured the split opinion across the MMA world. Some believed this defeat would only make Topuria stronger. Others believed something much bigger had disappeared that night. Not his skill, not his power, but the aura that made opponents hesitate before the opening bell even rang. For years, fighters entered the cage already wondering if they were about to be knocked out. Now, for the first time, they had seen him hurt. They had seen him frustrated. And most importantly, they had seen him lose. Sometimes one defeat changes nothing, but sometimes one defeat changes the way every future opponent walks into the cage.
I don't remember if I asked you last week.
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
Who wins the rematch?
Who wins the rematch?
Usually rematches favor the younger guy, they say.
If they were to rematch, I would favor Topuria. I would put my money on Topuria. You would put it on Gaethje?
I put it on Gaethje 100%. You know why? He's never going to be the same again.
That's a good point.
Like when you had your face broken like that.
That's a good point.
Like it heals differently. Like I know somebody who had their eye socket broken, and we would just be sparring, and they get hit, and it swells up, but it feels like it's
broken.
It feels like it never quite heals the same. And as you can see in that fight, when he got cut with that uppercut right out the gate, he couldn't stop playing with his face. Like he kept touching it. So like, I'm not sure like he's gonna be the same fighter anymore. And I hate to.
This is where the discussion takes a more serious turn. Fighters understand something that many fans often overlook. Broken bones heal, cuts close, and bruises eventually disappear. But injuries around the face and eyes can leave lasting effects that aren't always visible. Sometimes the body recovers, yet the mind remembers every impact. A fighter may begin reacting differently, becoming more cautious in exchanges that once felt natural. Whether the hesitation comes from physical discomfort or psychological scars, the outcome can be the same. In a sport where split-second decisions determine everything, even a brief moment of doubt can change an entire fight. And sometimes, it can alter the course of a champion's career forever.
He's gonna be the same fighter anymore. And I hate to put that on somebody because, especially somebody as good as he is, but you gotta look at it realistically and say he might not be the same fighter anymore.
It's definitely a possibility. I think you always gotta wait for when a guy first gets knocked out, and this is even different than knocked out because it was punishment for a long period of time. You know, I think a lot like Rashad. A lot of times, I just have to see how the guy comes back. I know Ilia personally. I know he's a fucking warrior. I think he makes a phenomenal comeback, but you just don't know until they step in there. Really, you don't know where his mind's gonna be at. And like you said, that stuff about the breaking is 100% true. I've had a lot of partners, and in that realm where they've gotten, either the nose broken or our orbital out of place, and it's never the same. It's just never the same.
Yeah. So my thought process was, because I still think that skill for skill, if you look at the two fighters skill for skill, Ilia is probably better in every area. So my thought process would be, if Ilia had more respect for him, that he would be able to beat him. But now, after taking that beating, you're right, man. Like, fighters just don't come back the same. We don't see it often in MMA like we would in like a boxing arena.
At the same time, writing off great champions has never been a smart idea. Every generation has produced fighters who were declared finished, only to return and shock the entire world. That's why the MMA community remains so divided. One side sees irreversible damage. The other sees the beginning of an incredible comeback story. And perhaps that's exactly why Ilia Topuria's future has suddenly become one of the biggest stories in the sport. Because nobody knows what happens next. Dana White never said Ilia Topuria's career was over, but his message was impossible to ignore. Forget rankings. For title fights, forget comeback dates. Right now, the only thing that matters is making sure one of the UFC's brightest stars fully recovers. And maybe that's the biggest lesson from this entire fight. Champions aren't remembered only because they win. They're remembered because of what they do after the worst night of their careers. Justin Gaethje delivered one of the greatest performances of his life. He proved every doubter wrong. He shocked the MMA world. But Ilia Topuria's story isn't over yet. The next time he walks toward that octagon, he won't just be fighting another opponent. He'll be fighting every question that followed him out of that arena. Was the damage permanent? Has the confidence disappeared? Can he still become champion again? Or was this the night that changed everything? Only one person can answer those questions, Ilia Topuria himself. And until that cage door closes again, the debate will continue. Because in mixed martial arts, sometimes the most important fight is the one that happens after the loss.